Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a topic that might make you think twice the next time you're at the airport. Bird strikes.
Yeah.
They're a bigger deal than many people realize.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, think about it. A recent plane crash in South Korea,
Right.
tragically 179 lives lost, and guess what?
Bird strike.
Suspected to be a major factor. Sobering, right?
Absolutely. It underscores just how crucial this issue is, not just some theoretical problem.
Real consequences. Today, we're zeroing in on how airports are tackling this head-on. We're off to Izumo Airport in Japan.
Interesting choice.
Right. It's got this surprisingly high bird strike rate, like way higher than you'd expect.
The highest in all of Japan, actually, and that's what makes Izumo so fascinating.
Yeah, why is that? Just bad luck, or is there something else going on?
Oh, it's more than just luck. Izumo's location is a big part of the story, nestled between two rivers,
Okay.
and right by Lake Shinji,
So, lots of water.
a haven for birds,
Yes.
especially those migratory species.
Like flocks of pigeons hanging out by the runway.
Not quite. Lake Shinji, you see, is a Ramsar-designated wetland, meaning it's a crucial stop for birds on those epic migrations.
Oh, I see. Like a rest stop on a busy highway, but for birds.
Exactly. A pit stop for our feathered friends traveling across the globe.
Makes sense. So, exhausted birds coming in to refuel, and suddenly planes are taking off and landing right in their flight path. Recipe for disaster.
Precisely. And we're not talking about a few birds here and there. In 2023 alone,
Uh-huh.
they observed a staggering 58,000 Baikal teal ducks at Lake Shinji.
Wow.
That's a 14.5-fold increase from the previous year.
14 and a half.
It's like a small city's worth of ducks suddenly descended on the lake.
No wonder Izumo has a bird strike problem. So, how are they handling this? Just trying to scare the birds away?
Well, traditional methods are still in play.
Okay.
Bird patrols,
Sure.
pyrotechnics, teams constantly on the lookout using flares or loud noises to try and deter birds from the runway.
I can see how those would help, to a point. But with that huge increase in ducks, it seems like you need a more, well, targeted approach.
You're right. Traditional methods can be disruptive, not always effective. That's why some airports are looking at more innovative solutions, like what's being tested at Tottori Airport.
Another Japanese airport.
Yes, facing similar bird strike challenges.
Okay, what are they doing?
It's called bird sonic.
Bird sonic.
Catchy name.
It is, yeah. So what is it?
It uses technology in a really cool way, creating an audio barrier with high-frequency sound waves.
Wait, an audio barrier, so blasting loud music to scare them off.
No, much more targeted.
Okay.
Bird sonic emits these specific frequencies, unpleasant for birds but not necessarily for humans.
Like a high-tech invisible fence.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps birds from entering the airspace around the airport.
Sounds ingenious.
Mm.
But how do they know those frequencies will deter birds? Is there science behind this?
Absolutely. This tech was developed with Okayama University of Science. Really showcases how research can tackle real-world issues. See, birds, they've got much more sensitive hearing than us. Certain frequencies cause discomfort or disorientation.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about being loud, it's about finding the frequencies that actually bother the birds
Yeah.
and make them avoid the area.
Exactly. And you know what?
Uh,
The results have been really promising. Bird strikes at Tottori Airport have gone down significantly from over 20 annually
Yeah.
to around 10.
Wow, that's a pretty dramatic reduction.
Yeah.
So bird sonic, it could be a real game changer in this fight against bird strikes.
It has that potential for sure. What's particularly intriguing is it's a proactive approach. Instead of reacting to birds when they're already a problem,
Yeah.
it's about preventing them from entering that danger zone in the first place.
Almost like, I don't know, a virtual no-fly zone.
Right. Avian air traffic control.
I like it. Avian air traffic control. Makes you wonder, what other ways can we learn from nature to make our skies safer?
That's a great point. There's a lot of research going on in that area.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, did you know some researchers are looking at bird flight patterns to improve aircraft design?
Wow, like biomimicry.
Exactly. Engineers are studying birds to design planes that are more fuel efficient,
Uh-huh.
more maneuverable, even quieter.
So we're not just keeping birds away from planes, we're learning from them to make planes better.
It's a really fascinating approach, isn't it? Sort of like a reminder that nature often holds the answers to some of our biggest challenges.
Absolutely. But it also makes me think about this bigger question. How do we balance aviation safety with, the fact that birds need their habitats too?
Right. It's not like we can just eliminate birds from the equation.
Exactly. They're an essential part of the ecosystem,
Yeah.
finding ways to coexist. That's the key.
Absolutely.
It seems like when it comes to bird strike prevention,
Yeah.
we've only just scratched the surface.
Huge.
We focus on Izumo, but I'm curious. What about other global hotspots for bird strikes? What makes them so prone to these incidents?
It's a great question. You often see higher bird strike rates in areas with certain geographical features, coastlines, for instance.
Because of the water?
Exactly. Abundant food sources.
Makes sense.
Lots of nesting sites.
So it's not just proximity to water, it's the specific environment, the ecosystem.
You got it. And then you've got things like weather patterns, migration routes.
Oh, right. Birds are super sensitive to weather changes.
Yeah.
And they follow these specific paths, right?
Those migration routes. And sometimes those routes just happen to intersect with, well, our air traffic corridors.
Leading to those uh-oh moments.
Exactly.
Uh,
Understanding these patterns. That's key for effective bird strike prevention.
It sounds like there's a ton of data and analysis that goes into understanding where bird strikes are most likely to occur. Like, we're talking big data here?
Absolutely. Researchers are always collecting data. Bird populations, their movements, habitat. It's amazing. They use it to create maps, models, to help airports assess their risks, develop those targeted plans.
It's almost like a weather forecast.
Yeah.
But for birds, you know, predict where the flocks will be and adjust to air traffic accordingly.
That's a great analogy. And the more data we have,
The better the predictions.
exactly, leading to hopefully safer skies for birds and planes alike.
Speaking of data, how do we even know if these bird strike prevention methods are working? We talked about patrols, pyrotechnics, bird sonic, but is there any way to measure their success?
That's a crucial point. It's not enough just to implement these things. We need to track how well they work. Airports, aviation authorities, they keep very detailed records of bird strikes.
Like what kind of detail?
Everything. The bird species involved, the location, time of day, type of aircraft. This data allows for identifying trends, patterns. See if those strategies are actually effective.
It's like a constant feedback loop.
You got it.
They're gathering data, analyzing it,
Yeah.
using that to refine their approach.
That's the idea. This data-driven approach is super important for making smart decisions, How to best use resources, develop new tech.
Which brings us back to innovation. We talked about bird sonic as this great example of using tech to deter birds.
Yeah.
What other cool tech advancements are we seeing?
Some really exciting stuff. For example, researchers are now exploring the use of laser technology to deter birds.
Lasers. Sounds a bit sci-fi, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. But this is becoming reality.
So how does that work?
These aren't like those super powerful lasers you see in movies. They're designed to create this visual disturbance.
Okay.
Birds find it unsettling, makes them want to steer clear of the area.
So it's like a visual barrier, similar to the audio barrier of bird sonic.
That's it. And lasers have this advantage. They can be super targeted, adjusted in real time,
Yeah.
potentially really effective for keeping birds away from sensitive areas like runways.
It's amazing how technology can be harnessed to make our skies safer. But it's not just about tech, right? There's a human element too. What can pilots and air traffic controllers do to reduce those risks?
Pilots and air traffic controllers, they're on the front lines, really. One of the key strategies is heightened awareness, especially during critical phases of flight like takeoff and landing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those are the riskiest times, right?
Absolutely. Pilots, they're trained to scan for birds.
Well, yeah.
Be ready to take those evasive maneuvers if needed.
Talk about quick thinking.
Exactly. And air traffic controllers play a part too. They're monitoring bird activity, can adjust flight paths, departure, and arrival times to try to minimize those potential encounters.
So it's this mix of human expertise and technology working in tandem to create a safer environment for air travel.
A perfect partnership, I'd say. It reminds us that we're all in this together. Scientists, engineers, pilots, air traffic controllers, all playing their part to keep our skies safe.
This has really been eye-opening. Bird strikes, it's a complex issue, but it's also inspiring to see the range of solutions, the ongoing research, the collaboration. It makes me feel like with continued effort, we can really make a difference.
I agree. I'm optimistic about the future. We're seeing amazing progress, new technologies, research, awareness, all growing. I think that with persistence and innovation, we can create a future where bird strikes are a much, much rarer occurrence. Safer skies for everyone.
We've talked about some pretty high-tech solutions, but are there simpler, more low-tech approaches, like Could changing the environment around airports actually help?
That's a great point. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. And yeah, modifying the habitat around airports can definitely play a role.
Like what? What kind of modifications?
Well, think about what attracts birds in the first place: food, water, shelter. The goal is to make the airport less enticing.
So make it less like a bird paradise.
Exactly. For example, removing standing water,
Okay,
keeping the grass trimmed short.
to get rid of insects.
Yep, fewer insects, fewer snacks for the birds, even planting trees and shrubs that are less appealing to certain species.
So make the airport less like a bird buffet. More like, well, an airport.
That's the idea, creating a less hospitable environment, but without, harming the birds or disrupting the ecosystem, and it can be surprisingly effective.
This brings up something you mentioned before, public awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Could educating people about this issue actually help prevent bird strikes?
Public awareness is huge. People don't always realize that seemingly small actions can make a difference, like not feeding birds near an airport
Right.
or disposing of food waste properly. Because landfills, they can be a major bird attractant. And guess what? Landfills are often located near airports.
So it's all connected. Even our everyday actions can have an impact.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all part of a larger system, and our choices, even small ones, can contribute to a safer environment for everyone.
It's been fascinating exploring this topic. It really emphasizes that we need to approach bird strikes holistically. It's not just about the birds and the planes. It's the environment, human behavior, and how they all intersect.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We're all interconnected. Our actions have ripple effects.
As we wrap up, is there one last thought-provoking question you'd like to leave our listeners with? Something to ponder, to spark further exploration.
I like that. How about this? As we continue to develop new technologies and strategies to prevent bird strikes, how do we make sure we're doing it in a way that respects the needs of both birds and humans? It's a question that pushes us to think about our relationship with the natural world, to find solutions that benefit all.
What a great question. It really gets to the core of what we've been discussing, striking that balance between progress and responsibility. Well, on that note, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of bird strikes and sky safety. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even inspiring. Until next time, keep looking up and remember, every flight is a testament to the incredible interplay between human ingenuity and the wonders of nature.